Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be showing you all how to play my favorite off-meta pick, Bel'Veth mid lane. Bel'Veth is a very mobile melee character that has good burst and decent sustained damage. In the mid lane, she plays a lot like Aurelia, using her dashes to get in, deal damage, and get out. In teamfights, she plays a lot like a Katarina or Tristana, using her ultimate resets to turn fights, and usually enters the fight a little behind your engaged champions. Against melee champs, your level 1 is one of the best in the game. You want to pressure them off the minions as much as possible, and if they step up, you should immediately look for an all-in. You want to look to weave one auto between each dash if you can, but otherwise try to land all 4 dashes. This deals upwards of 800 damage if you land all dashes and auto attacks. Against ranged champs, you want to look to keep your health as high as possible. If they step up, you can look to use 1 or 2 dashes to short trade, but otherwise look to get any CS you can without taking too much damage. You should look for a QW on them at level 2, but if you miss, you should wait for your cooldowns to come back or wait until you hit level 3. If you miss your W, it is highly recommended that you don't continue the trade. I have made this mistake countless times, so don't feel bad if this happens to you. In general, you either out-sustain or out-fight most matchups in the mid lane. In a future video, I will outline which matchup is which, but for the most part, you want to out-sustain ranged champs and out-trade melee champs. One of the best things you can do right now as a Bel'Veth in the mid lane is to hit level 6 before Void Grubs spawn, and then take them, with or without your jungler. But this is usually quite difficult. Some strategies I use to help achieve this are to take teleport in your sums and limit your roaming as much as possible so you can stay in lane to level up. Try to base on a cannon wave and teleport back for your first base to minimize XP loss. If you successfully take Void Grubs or any Void Camp, prioritize your life over everything. Your enhanced true form is extremely valuable for pressure and should be protected and utilized. When you have enhanced true form, you should push waves in and either take turrets or use the extra minion pressure to look for a roam. Roaming top or bot is fine, but invading the jungle is even easier when you have form on Bel'Veth, and you will beat most junglers in their jungle. If you've watched any of my videos before, I'm sure you've seen how many times I've invaded the jungle and killed a Briar or even like a Jarvan, anything that's traditionally an early game jungler, and just demolish them. The level advantage that you have as a mid laner is very significant. Wait, I kill this Briar here. Yep. In the mid game, you should prioritize giving kills to your carries. You are a snowball champion, but are not as good in teamfights as any ADC or top bruiser would be. Try to make plays around your teammates to get them more fed. Objectives are your number 1 priority at all times. If you have Void Form, you should prioritize split pushing in the mid game, but if you don't, you should prioritize looking for picks and objective fights. In the late game, if you have Void Form, you should group with your team to build up a big wave, likely in the mid lane. Alternatively, you may set up a giant wave on the opposite side of the map as the objective so you can teleport in and still have a turret be overrun by your massive Void army. If you don't have form, you should split push on the opposite side of the objective, given you have teleport up, and teleport to any team fight your team is having. Your goal in fights is to either one-shot the AD carry or protect your AD carry. My most consistent core Bel'Veth build for this season has been these items: Eclipse, Spear of Shojin, Terminus, Jack Show, and either Wit's End, Styrax Gauge, or Kraken Slayer, in that order. For boots on Bel'Veth, I either go Mercury Treads or Plated Steel Caps for the most part. But if you find that you don't need either of those, you can go Berserker Greaves or Boots of Swiftness as well. For runes, I take Conqueror, Triumph, Bloodline, Coup de Grace, Sudden Impact, and Ingenious Hunter. For ability scaling, I max W, then E, then Q. But you start Q, then W, then E. However, I've been experimenting with some other builds that I also really like. You could try swapping out Ravenous Hydra from Eclipse. So go Ravenous Hydra, Spear of Shojin, Terminus, etc. Also, Stridebreaker is getting an update. It's becoming another Hydra item, which means it has a cleave, and it will have an active cleave, just like the current Hydra items have. And I think it will be a very effective item on Bel'Veth. So when that comes out, it's going to come out tomorrow, February 7th. I think it will be an effective item on Bel'Veth, and you should try it out. And I will too, and if it goes really well, then you will certainly see a video on that.